Happy Wednesday. Today, I'm talking to you about something that most realtors are not going to tell you, okay? And that is when you should not buy a house. Let's be real. I work on commission, 100% on commission. Currently, even as a brokerage owner, we're still so new that I'm not getting paid from the company that I own at all. Either it's paying for itself, or at the beginning I was paying in and it was negative money and it wasn't great, but it's for a purpose, right? So end of the day, right now still, if I don't sell houses, my bills aren't paid, my kids don't eat. Life does not go well, right? So there's always that biased perspective, because at the end of the day, as much as we want to not pressure people and we want to be informative and a matchmaker and all of this stuff, at the end of the day, it's still sales. If I don't sell, I don't eat. So watch these realtors, because some of them, they need it more than others. Hopefully you're working with a good one where you personally buying something is not a make or break for them. If it is, you may want to run, unless they're new and have really, really good backing. I think it's really important to have yourself set up so that that's not a tragedy, because then you can really put your client's needs before your own. And that's what we're technically legally required to do regardless. But just keeping it completely straight. We work on commission. We need you to buy stuff so that we can make a living. Having said that, all of the reasons I tell people to purchase are actually valid. I bought this year. We are in a fun time in the market where sometimes rent is cheaper than buying. So do I love my mortgage payment? No. Do I love my 7.2% interest rate? No. I wish I could have afforded to buy a house when they were like 2.75. That would have been phenomenal. But guess what? I wasn't ready, so I didn't buy. Even now, like, honestly, I wish we had waited to have a little more of a nest egg, or I maybe wouldn't have started 2 businesses immediately after, and having a baby, it was a lot at once, definitely took a toll in the pocketbook. But all of that is going towards helping you, because there are times where you should not buy. Now, currently, I don't want you to hear me and think, oh, rent's cheaper than buying, I shouldn't buy, because everything I've said before is still true. It is cheaper to rent than buy right now, but those go on a roughly 2-year cycle. So, and we're already in that. So really in the next year or two, by the time your lease is up, you're going to want to purchase if you can. Because if not, it's not going to be great. Rates are going up still. We don't anticipate them dropping until 2024. And even then, probably looking at second, third quarter before that starts to happen. So you have a lot of time, and you also have a lot of people that are anticipating that, and they're storing up all their money. So that when they do drop, they can get the lower interest rate and just throw the cash at it, and their payment is much lower. That sounds great. So if that's you, do it. Awesome. But also know you're going to be competing. So if you can buy now, still buy now. The best time to buy if you don't own anything is as soon as you can, no matter what, because you want to start building the equity, right? Now there are a few caveats with that. First one, long-term goals. And really, this is just umbrella over all of this. What are your long-term goals? Because if you want to build wealth, the most stable investment still is real estate. It's a slow build, but baby, it is steady over time. Unless you even going back like 2008, if they didn't buy right before that crash, nothing. There's so many people that have owned their houses since like the 80s, not impacted at all. You just don't want to buy high and sell low. Same with stocks. Any investment, you're not going to buy high and sell low. But the funny thing is, everyone knows that's what people do. It's psychological, because you're like, oh, it's great, I should go ahead and purchase. And then you're like, oh, it's not going well, I should get out of this. Don't do that with your house. It is the most expensive asset you have 90% of the time minimum. So don't wait until it's a bidding war again to buy. Do it now when there's not a lot of competition. But again, having said that, what are your long-term goals? If you plan on staying somewhere for a while, go ahead and buy as soon as you can. If you are moving around, then unless you can convert that into an income property, or you have run the numbers and you probably get a return on it in the time frame you're looking to move, don't do it. Not a tax professional, talk to a tax professional. But you have to be in your principal residence 2 years to not be required to pay capital gains taxes. So if you're not planning on living in the same city for at least 2 years, don't buy it. Just don't do it. Other thing is, what are your finances? Like, yes, please own a home. I love it. But when you own a home, excuse my language, but shit breaks. Things go haywire. Shit hits the fan. You're like, holy hell, how am I paying for this? And this is just me being real, because I hope by now y'all know me. But really, I've owned, and you can't even say, oh, it's not going to break within X amount of time, because even being a professional at this, I went down my little checklist of things that need to be done now, things that we can put on our little list and do in time. And shit hit the fan, right? Great home inspection, knew a lot of things. We are pulling money out of our pockets to pay for repairs already. It hasn't even been a year. My dishwasher's leaking. Our pool has a leak. And some of the supports on our floor joists have already shifted, because turns out they nailed them in when they should have put leg screws. Fun fact. So those are all like hundreds, thousands of dollars that start adding up. Get a home warranty. So when your dishwasher or your HVAC or anything like that goes out, you have it covered. They cover sometimes roof leaks if they're minimal, water pressure issues. There's a whole lot of stuff that a home warranty can cover, so get one. But I digress. Again, main point is things break and you have to have money to fix them, because when you're renting, you can go, hey, Mr. Landlord or Property Management Company, my X is not working. I mean, X is in like, X stands for the number, not X like your ex who you should have dumped years ago. But my blank is not working. Will you please come fix it? Sure, we'll be over within 48 hours. Well, it's leaking right now. I need it right now. Okay, we'll figure that out. When you own a house, who's your landlord? Myself. Who doesn't want to go fix it at 11 o'clock at night? Myself. Who doesn't want to pay for that? Myself. So please make sure when you're accounting for how much you can comfortably pay in a mortgage, that you're making sure that you have savings in case something happens. Please, please, please do not get in a bind where you have a giant roof leak and you can't afford to fix it, and you're living under blankets with a bucket, and it's just not good. And that happens. People buy nice houses and they go to crap because they can't afford to fix them. Don't let that be you. Honestly, I wish we had saved up a little bit more, because pool has a brand new liner. Who would have thought it would leak? I got one season out of it and I'm fixing it. So think about things like that. It hurts. If you can tell, I'm a little bit flustered about all the things that have already gone wrong. But that's home ownership. And honestly, like when you call your home inspector, your realtor, whoever it may be that helped you buy the house, and you're like, hey, I've been at 6 months and this broke now. Is there anything we can do? If you have a home warranty, maybe. If there's a defect in like a repair that was done, maybe. If it was something that should have been disclosed and wasn't, maybe. But 9 times out of 10, no, it's welcome to home ownership. I'm sorry for your luck. So make sure you have a good amount of money put back. And you don't have to have $10,000, $20,000. Really, if you're smart about it, you don't. But if you are living like paycheck to paycheck, you got $40 to eat the rest of the week, maybe don't buy a house yet. Just don't. Build up a little bit, get a plan together. We can work on that together. And then when you have a little bit of a stash, let's go for it. We can, if you start soon, depending on your finances, we can still hit it before the rush of buyers comes in. So let's talk about it. Another reason that you won't want to buy is if you will be barely making that payment. And this goes back to the one I just touched on because you need to have some in reserves. But if you're going to be barely making your payment and you don't anticipate an increase in income anytime soon, just don't do it. Don't strap yourself. You can wait. But then you need to be finding a way to fix that. Do you have cars or credit cards or some sort of debt that you could pay off that'll help you have more cash flow into your pocket? Do you have any way of earning a promotion or switching to a different career? Trades are so important right now. This is something I've not talked about, but I have a college degree. I have a bachelor's of science in early childhood education. I started my master's of business. Didn't finish it because I started real estate and I like this so much better. But I have a degree. I don't use it. That's debt. I use the information I got, but if I could do it over, I would have started real estate and then gotten my degree, took longer. Still done it, but without the debt. My husband's a college dropout. He now makes almost as much as I do. And I make pretty decent money. And he got into line work. Even with that, you don't need to go the route we did. We paid $20,000 for a lineman school. It worked out because they started him out as a step 2 apprentice and he makes more money than his peers. But literally, you go down to your IBEW, and if you want to be a lineman or an electrician, it's going to be either classified as outside or inside, some of them. You just literally sign your name on the books. Some of them do require things. You may need to get a CDL and have like a CPR certification. Talk to them, see what they need. But you can obtain some of those things without spending 20 grand. So look into that. Welders, same thing. You can go through a training program that is either a lot cheaper than a college degree, or it might even pay you while you're going through it, depending on where. Plumbers, I see postings for plumbers, HVAC apprentices all the time where they will pay you for you to learn. You're not making a lot of money, but you will eventually. So if you are in a position where you're just like, wow, I don't think I'm ever going to own a house, start looking into what you can do differently in your career that will bring in some more money. Other things to think about with that is the flip side of it. If you are anticipating getting a raise, do you need to get that raise before you can afford the house that you want? Or are there maybe some programs that you qualify for now that you won't qualify for when you do get that raise? So look into that too. You want to make sure that you are utilizing everything available for you. So recap, main things are, if you don't have money in reserves, don't have enough income, can't fix things, or you're moving soon, maybe not the right time to buy, and that's okay. If you're thinking about it, if home ownership is a goal of yours, even if you don't plan to stay in the area, you want to bounce around, but you want to have some investment properties, or maybe figure out a way that you can buy it and still sell it, buy something else somewhere else, then let's talk through those, because there's so many solutions. But I don't want you to feel like every conversation we have is me trying to get you to buy a house, because sometimes it's not the right choice and sometimes it's not possible. And then we'll talk through that and figure out when it is right and how to get there. So I hope you guys have a great Wednesday. As always, if you have any questions that I haven't already answered in the chat, I always go back through after we talk, or I talk and you're there, so that I can dedicate more time to it. But if you have any questions that haven't already been addressed, reach out to me. I would love to help, and I hope you have a phenomenal